Morning, everyone. KJ here. Today is day 7 of the Lori Hussey Daybell trial. Yesterday's testimony was everything from heartbreaking to greedy financial crimes, everything of that sort. Let me just say off the bat that I apologize to all of you that were looking for day 6 afternoon's live stream there. I think some of us on here remember in the afternoon, I played a real quick little music there thinking it wasn't the whole song or nothing. This channel don't monetize, and they took that crap down. So I've learned my lesson. I appreciate everybody understanding that, but there is no afternoon of day 6 of the Lori Daybell trial because old KJ got dang stuck in this chair, and I thought I would do a little dancing for a second. I didn't think YouTube would be so concerned over 25 seconds worth of music. It's so damn ridiculous, really. But anyway, Nate Eaton is back at the Ada County Courthouse. Rexburg Police Detective Chuck Kunsantis, which I've been calling him Detective Chuck because I don't like I'm not sure I'm doing his name properly, will be the first on the stand this morning, continuing to testify about bank statements, credit card accounts, and other financial information involving Lori, Chad, and Alex. And just a little housekeeping there. There are no mods. This is just a little bitty channel here. If you see anybody popping in here, whether it's a bot, spam, just some jerk, whatever, ignore them, block them, or report them if you feel so inclined. Again, we are trying to get justice through understanding on this case. This channel's been open for 2 years, and the Rays on here deserve this. And let me tell you, the victims and the victims' family members are in our thoughts and in our prayers. So good morning, Lollipop Guild, Kathy Gregg, Jet Set J, Goodwill Squatter, Bryn Marshall, Tammy Bell. Thank y'all so much for being here. Jen Marr, Leanne Jordan. You got Deborah Tatella and Jessica Kay and Kavita Diva and CC Johnson 67. Carla Cassidy. Y'all were waiting for the court to bring in the jurors. You got Miss DMC. You got Cindy. You got Daughter of Scotland. Okie Dokie. Erna Anspich. Sherilyn Softner. TJ's Race. And thank y'all so much for all the kind words that y'all and the support, basically helping me to move forward in this. Moonchild, Heather Chasing, Cosette Campbell, Nana, Tracy Mazzero, Jody Allen, Dogmon Mom, Heather Strock, Liz Witt, Jennifer Drexel, Melba, Betsy's Barn, New Salsa, Renee. Good morning to everybody. So anyway, we're going to get started here on day 7. We are waiting again for the jury members to come in and for everything to start commencing again. I do not know, y'all. Hello, Gene P, Crochet and Bamming, Vix Tex, Chris Arnett, Hanali Campbell. Y'all, thank y'all so much for being here. It means a lot to me. I don't have to do this by myself. I could have done this, but after everything that we've researched and analyzed in terms of the Rays on here, I wanted to be there for the Rays because they were there for me for over 2 years. So, hello, Sleuthin' Mom 85. Hey, I don't know how much longer this financial testimony is going to be going on. As you recall, yesterday, they had a great big folder full of items that needed to be entered into evidence. And even after a while there was some mix-ups with the state entering the proper exhibit numbers. And so we're going to be probably hearing some more of this today. I guess the big question is is who is going to be on the stand after this? Detective Chuck Consantis. We've all heard. Now listen up. Nate Eaton has already confirmed it that Janice, Lori's mother, has not been in town. So this proves a point to all of us when I say I can't confirm this. I couldn't confirm that Kobe was in town, but he'd been in town. But Nate Eaton says Janice Cox has not been in town. So I take Nate Eaton's word for it. He's an excellent journalist. In fact, it's because of Nate Eaton and Justin Lum that we're even meeting here today, and every day that this trial has started. So Okie Dokie seems to think it's probably the FBI agent Mike Thomas. Good morning, Danny B, Andrew F. Y'all, every time I think, that it's about as bad as it gets in terms of testimony, something else happens. And I do want to talk with y'all a little bit about Kobe Ryan's, the phone call that many of us got to hear last night. I posted it on the community wall, got some really good comments, and some people don't read the comments, but OKJ thinks those comments are a hell of a lot more important than what I got to say. So I am going to read a few of the comments on the audio, and I'm also going to give my own personal opinions about Kobe's phone call with his evil, diabolical mother, okay? So we're going to probably fill in some dead air between tweets so that y'all are not sitting there. I don't know about y'all, but whenever I'm listening to people online, these breaks, I don't mind a little silence every so often, but it bothers me when you have to, sit there and wait for the next tweet. Sometimes I don't have anything to say or can't think of anything important to say. Not that anything I've got to say is really important anyway. It's just my perspective. I'm demonstrating my commitment to getting justice through understanding. Now, Nate Eaton says here that the interest from members of the public wanting to attend the trial in person has not decreased. Many people telling me they're taking time off from work to be here. One woman introduced herself to me, said she drove from Sacramento, California to be here. Lots of folks from Idaho and Utah. Lori Vallow Daybell is in the courtroom with her attorney. Her attorneys John Thomas and Jim Archibald. Prosecutors Rob Wood, Spencer Ramel, and Tanya Rawlings are in the courtroom. Lindsay Blake and Rachel Smith are absent this morning. So, this is something we figured out very quickly. The state's team has all of these different attorneys on it. We knew about Lindsay Blake having her one of her family members had passed away. That's why we didn't have testimony on Monday. And honestly, y'all, these team members for the state are really, you don't know who's going to be direct examining anybody at any time. We've gotten a little bit of it all, y'all. And I think they've done a really good job thus far. Obviously, y'all know me. I wanted these cult members, Melanie Gibbs, Zulema, and maybe down the road, we got Melanie P. and David Warwick. But specifically, these first two cult members, I would have liked to have seen to have their asses chewed out. And Thomas kind of went a little aggressive on Zulema during the ending of her cross-examination. Some people said that he was unprofessional for laughing when he asked her, well, if you saw all these heavenly beings in the temple, but you're sitting here telling us that you don't remember, y'all, the bottom line is no, he shouldn't have laughed, but he proved a really big point. All goes back to MG, Melanie Gibb, and Zulema. They don't recall. They don't remember. I mean, come on! These people were in the middle of this shit. And it's just aggravating to me that they can't come out and really just lay it on the line. Obviously, y'all, they're not going to want to say anything that's going to implicate them. But I think the Rays on here understand that once I really get a chance to, really break down these audios, there are going to be word sentences and things that are said that's going to make me really take a double take. This goes back to when we discussed Melanie Gibb and her East Idaho News extravaganza, and you compared to that to Chad's preliminary hearing testimony and also her police interview. You got Thomas over here with kid gloves on all of these people, except he made a point, y'all. And that is what it's all about, y'all. A robust defense should be part of a fair trial. This is what Larry and Kay Woodcock said they wanted, along with other victims' family members. Krisha K. Easton of Difficult Research. They want a fair trial. And a fair trial includes a defense attorney going after these nut jobs on the stand. He should have been doing it with Melanie Gibb, but he didn't do it. And maybe he'll get another shot at it when she comes on the stand again for the state's rebuttal case that's trying to shoot down Lori's alibi, because she is slated to testify again, and Zulema's name is on there as well. So maybe Thomas will get his head out his ass and the reason I say this isn't in defending Lori or anything. It's about, I want to know something. And maybe these defense attorneys are going to be able to pull something out of them. I want to know as much as I can know. This case is devastating. This case represents a lot of things, y'all, to a lot of different people. Rexburg Police Detective Chuck, y'all, and his last name is Consadis, but I don't like saying it, so I'm going to say Detective Chuck, just took the stand. Jurors are being brought into the courtroom. Expect a lot of testimony this morning to be about finances, bank statements, business documents, and etc. Now that sounds boring as hell, doesn't it? But I'll tell you something. If you look beyond it and you look at the activity of these bank accounts, the fact that these people even had multiple credit cards, the fact that Alex Cox is using his $21,000 loan after quitting his job in Arizona and buying 40 plus guns. I mean, here we are in America in the middle of all this about gun control and school shootings and all these crazy ass people out here with mental health issues and all that. And here you have Alex Cox buying all of these, just stockpiling weapons. And guns are not cheap. Ammunition's not cheap. Does it even dawn on anyone, why would Alex Cox get all those guns and ammunition if he was on his way out? I put the theory out there that he done himself in. But now I'm having to back up a little bit, and I think, did he think that, he was going to be the warrior and the world was going to come to an end and they were going to set up all the white tents and he was going to be the main fella? I wonder who his quote-unquote soldiers were going to be, huh? There are a lot of names thrown out here, y'all. A lot of names of people that have gone unscathed in this, who are also not even going to be part of this trial, in my opinion. The first document today, y'all, that is being presented to the jury is a loan document for the Jeep Wrangler. The vehicle was purchased in April of 2019. Tylee began making $599 a month payments in June. Automatic payments were made in June, July, and August. So this survivor benefits for Tylee Ryan, because Joe Ryan was dead, and the fact that she had her own account, she was on her way to learning all about finances. And when I see this, I think about my sons who are now adults. I've got a 23-year-old, a 30-year-old, and a 32-year-old. And yes, we went down that road of trying to teach them money management. We co-signed for all of their first vehicles when they were 16. They made the payments. We did not make the payments. And then from there, they were able to start getting loans for, say, an updated vehicle or something. What I'm trying to prove the point in is that Tylee began paying these out of her Social Security money. This was, in my view, it looks pretty clear that she was being taught some financial responsibility. It doesn't get past me that this vehicle was purchased by Charles Vallow in April of 2019. If y'all recall, Lori and Charles was in and out of being fixing to be divorced and all that, and yet Charles Vallow still did this for Tylee Ryan. What's interesting about it is Lori turned her kids, or at least Tylee, against Joe Ryan. I'm sure she had a lot of awful things, verbal things to say about Charles Vallow to Tylee, and yet here Charles Vallow is purchasing a vehicle for Tylee Ryan. So that is something that sticks out to me, along with the fact that these automatic payments were made in June, July, and we know July was when Charles Vallow was murdered, and August. So it shows a short pattern since April of 19 that this was beginning to happen. Now, we know that was automatic payments from June, July, and August. Well, what happens in September? The September car payment from Tylee's account came back, y'all, as insufficient funds. And doesn't that make all the sense in the world? Lori was taking everything down to $10.04. She knew Tylee was going to be murdered. I'm not sure of when that payment was due in September, but if it would have been significant whether that would have been due before Tylee was murdered or after. This is the Jeep seized by Rexburg police on November 4th of 2019. Remember, old KJ told y'all that Lori and Alex and Chad had to know, well, the Jeep is gone. It's not here in the parking lot. We don't know if they looked out the apartment window and said, oh, they're impounding the Jeep. But they did know. They had to have known that the police took that Jeep. This goes back to the October 2nd, 2019 attempt on Brandon Boudreaux's life. Alex Cox used that Jeep, and it was seized. Detective Chuck says the department seized the Jeep on November 4th of 2019. It was never reported missing. Lori, Alex, they didn't report that Jeep missing. They either saw the police impounding it, or they didn't see it, saw it disappear, and said, holy cow, why would they? Why would they? They tried to use it to murder Brandon Boudreaux with. They didn't want any attention on them because guess what? It took a while for the law enforcement to figure it out because the vehicle was in Charles Vallow's name and he was deceased. But Lori and Alex wouldn't have reported it missing simply because who was driving it most of the time? Tylee Ryan. 2 + 2 = 4, y'all. The next document that's admitted into evidence is an email, y'all, dated November the 8th of 2019. That's 3 days after Chad and Lori got married on the beach in their Hawaiian beach wedding when nobody there, looking just nastier than hell, acting like they're on drugs or something. They looked in those pictures, those wedding pictures, they look like they'd smoked a big old hooter. They look so high, I mean, just high as kites, really. That's what cult members usually look like, in my opinion. But the next document is an email dated November 8th of 2019 that Chad Daybell sent to Julie Black, a realtor in Hawaii. And I know that, remember Ray's on here, we said once this trial started, all this stuff would just it would fall right into place. We know what they're talking about. It says, we are interested in seeing this property. Would the owners be interested in leasing this property to a clean couple with no pets and no children? Yeah, I'll tell you what, these people are disgusting. And y'all will hear me say pathetic, disgusting, crazy. I've got a whole long list of adjectives I'm going to be using through this trial. So, if it sounds redundant, y'all just going to have to get over it. Please let us know. Thank you, says Chad Daybell. This email was sent 3 days after Lori and Chad were married. So I just got a question for y'all. They're looking for rental property on Hawaii. I thought it was the end of the damn world. Give me a break. What about the rest of their cult members? Were they all going to come? I think Melanie P. said, well, something to the effect in one of her, somewhere, she talked about that Lori and Chad had talked about her eventually coming to Hawaii. If you couldn't get Zuzu out of Arizona, was you going to get Zuzu into Hawaii? I think Chad and Lori just cut everybody loose. They served their purpose. Now Lori and Chad needed to focus, don't you know, on their new existence. I mean, y'all remember the TV crew there when Lori and Chad pulls up at the Hawaiian temple. She gets out like she's some damn movie star. She don't want to talk to nobody. She's smiling. Oh, this is their new existence. Give me a break. They were trying to set it all back up, y'all, I'm sure. The next document is subscriber information for Lori Vallow's Sparklight Cable One account. This was for Rexburg Apartment 175, but Lori's rental lease agreement was for Apartment 107, y'all. Detective Chuck says Lori leased in 107 where Alex lived, but she lived in 175. I don't know if they're going to specify who paid what, but remember, Race, we talked about how in the hell can you move to Rexburg and be able to rent 2 apartments there? I'm sure it's not cheap. You got your first and last month's rent. Some of that is answered, I guess, maybe, perhaps, that Alex Cox took out that $21,000 loan. But then again, y'all, how much are 46 guns going to cost him? And, by the way, when he's deader than a doornail, Zulima's talking about there was $4,000 to $6,000 left in the closet from her in case something happened. And I guess the Sparklight Cable One account is so that they can get basic cable, or maybe they had more of the channels. I don't know. But it does kind of seem strange, does it not, that it was 107 that was completely cleaned up and everything. And if Lori rented that, that means she wanted her deposit back or whatever. So I'm assuming that they did this to kind of shield or hide or conceal where they really were. Do y'all remember Chad Daybell? When asked by police, which he knew the kids were dead, he tells the police the last time he saw J.J. Vallow was in October at apartment 107, which is a crock of shit. Yeah, Vix Tech, Alex Cox did have an arsenal. Melanie moved into the unit right beside where Lori was, says Mohawk Mom. You're correct about that, Mohawk Mom. It was apartment 176. This is the same niece of Lori that didn't see anything. Everything looked just fine and dandy. I was trying to get my home set up, my little nest for my kids. I was so busy. Alex, he visited with me all the time. We became very good friends. But Lori had her own thing going on. And my reasoning to everyone over why I didn't see Tylee and JJ was in a special school and Tylee was off at with her friends. I mean, how many damn days, y'all? How many damn days do children need to be out of the sight of Melanie P for her to use that bullcrap excuse? Give me a break. The next exhibit is from Windstream Communications in reference to an IP address associated with Tylee Ryan's Venmo account. The IP address was registered to a Residence Inn in Kansas City, Missouri. So what are we talking about here? Is this now, I'm not confirming this, but when we're talking about Kansas City, Missouri, are we talking about when Lori used to jump on these jet planes all the time and go to all these places? And she's using Tylee's Venmo account in Kansas City, Missouri? $100 was sent on October the 10th to Kobe Ryan from Tylee's account with a message saying, "We love you." Lori was with Melanie Pulowski in Kansas City that day to visit friends. The Venmo transaction was made using Tylee's phone, Detective Chuck says. So again, this backs up Kobe's audio jail phone call with Lori talking about, "You're making me think that my sister's alive and she's not." It's evil. It's just awful. The next document that is entered is a receipt from the Residence Inn in Kansas City, Missouri. Melanie Boudreau's name is on it, and it says 2 guests were in the room. The IP address was tracked to this hotel on that specific date. And Melanie Pulowski now, she had no idea. Remember, y'all, this was October the 10th. I wonder if she asked Lori, "Where are Tylee and JJ? We're up here in Missouri, Lori. We're in a hotel room together, Lori. Who's taking care of Tylee and JJ, Lori?" It's pathetic. Pathetic. Is everybody getting to know each other on the stream? Oh, yeah, Strawberry Mage. I really do think they knew. Yeah, they all knew. My mom had the record. Oh, y'all are in here talking about other stuff. Good morning, Strawberry Mage. Good morning, everyone. Y'all are talking about all kinds of things. Thank God Brandon saved those. Where is it? I can't stand it when it says saved those 2 children from Melanie, or they would have been 2 more victims. Good morning, Goodwill Squatter. So we know that on October the 10th, Melanie Pulowski and Lori Hussey Daybell are in a room in Missouri. And I'm just throwing this out here. Does this have anything to do with Audrey Baratello, excuse me? Or is this other people that they're trying to gather? Y'all know this gathering crap. Gather them all together. It seems kind of strange, is it not, that Melanie Gibb and Lori and all them were trying to gather attractive women, i.e. Chud's harem. Wood asks Detective Chuck if he ever did any pharmaceutical searches when J.J. Vallow was missing. The detective says he did. He submitted requests to agencies in Arizona, Hawaii, Montana, and Idaho. There were no records of any prescriptions being filled for JJ in any of those states during 2019, which confirms to what we already knew, y'all. Lori stopped giving JJ his medications. Who knows why she did it other than to say maybe she didn't want to pay the co-payments. Maybe she didn't want to pay the $10 co-payment or whatever so she could take that $10 and get her dang fillers. And one has to know that for her to talk about JJ as being so out of control and he's doing all these things and everything, well, you add that with the fact that they murdered his sister and she's no longer there. You know, I'll say this because I have wrote this in my notes. When Lori talks about to Kobe on that jail phone call, she brings out that I was there for Tylee while she was in the hospital all those many times. And I took care of JJ and all that. Well, damn it, woman. What the hell are you trying to say? That because you were there for them like any freaking mother would, that it was okay to murder them? Or what? Is she trying to say Tylee had pancreatitis, she was in so much pain all the time, and JJ had special needs? What, she wants to put them out of their misery? Or is it she wanted to murder them to put her own self out of the responsibility of taking care of them? Kobe Ryan can get on the stand and say to Thomas's questions, yes, my mother took care of the kids and I and all this and that. Well, you know what? The bottom line is she murdered them. She murdered them. The next document entered is from the state of Hawaii, showing prescriptions were filled. Now, wait a minute. Okay. This document's in the state of Hawaii showing prescriptions were filled for JJ in 2015 and 2017. I thought they were going to say, after their death. I was going to be like, yeah, they used that medicine. But Wood asked Detective Chuck why he did a search for prescription history in Montana. And that's what I was thinking, y'all. We've heard Missouri, Idaho, Utah, California, where Chad and Lori hopped a plane to get to Hawaii when they ran. But I'd never heard of Montana. And then Detective Chuck says the reason he did a check on prescription history in Montana was that they got a tip early on that the kids maybe are being held in a Montana compound, so officers followed up on the tip. This goes back again, y'all, to all the tips that came in when the children were missing. Every one of those tips were checked out. And the reason I say this again is because if they'd have never found those children's bodies, it would have been really significant that all tips were being checked out. But once they found those children's bodies, does it really matter that they followed up on all those tips? Because they had the actual real evidence of where the children were. So this might go back to that whole thing. Everybody thought, well, before it all went down, y'all, even I have to say it. I thought, did they take them and put them in a quote-unquote bunker? Did they take them somewhere away from everyone? Rob Wood shows Detective Chuck a document from the Montana Prescription Monitoring Program showing no prescriptions were ever filled for JJ. Tylee Ryan's name was also submitted. No medications were found. Lori and Melanie Boudreaux's names were also submitted. Melanie was living next door to Lori. That's why Detective Chuck says they searched her name too. And y'all, I can't wait for an FBI agent to go on the stand whenever I'm just assuming. Surely they're going to do it. And play the recordings that Ian made behind Melanie Pulaski's back. It's going to show she's just as crazy, and I don't mean like legally insane crazy, but just as messed up as Zulema and Melanie Gibb. The next document that is entered is a letter from the Arizona Department of Prescription Monitoring Program. It says no opioids or narcotics were ever prescribed to the parties. Arizona only tracks opioid-based drugs, says Detective Chuck. You know, we thought about that before all of the empirical data and evidence started to come out, and in police reports and any kind of evidence that we knew we could rely on. Before all that, y'all, I was like, maybe these people were on something. Maybe they were absolutely doing some crazy stuff. And, you know, because you try to reach for how in the world can people act like this? And, you know, even though they confirmed that there were no narcotics ever prescribed, and on top of that, Alex Cox's autopsy report showed, the toxicology report showed no drugs in his system other than the Narcan. The bottom line is you can get whatever you want to get on the streets, and especially if you're used to going down to Mexico to get shit. Y'all know it, I know it. I'm not saying they were doing drugs. I'm just saying that can't just be foolproof that none of them ever did anything. I mean, when you got Zulema on the stand talking about how she texts Chad Daybell, my shoulder's causing me problems, Chad. And Chad says he takes the demon or this evil spirit or whatever away. She says, oh, my shoulder is better. Well, I'll tell y'all what. You know, that proves right there she wasn't using any drugs, but you got that old conviction for Ozuzu. She was convicted of drug distribution. We are now viewing an email Lori sent to her accountant. She explains to the accountant that Charles Vallow died and she wanted information about how to forward tax returns to her new address. So she had to do that, y'all, because she had those minor children, right? And she gets those child tax credits. She had to make sure to get that money flowing to anything she could squeeze out of the tit of the government. That's what Lori was wanting to do. The email is dated September the 9th, y'all. The day, it could have been the day, overnight on September 9th. It could have been September 8th or 9th of 2019 that Tylee was murdered. But she is sending this email about tax returns on September 9th of 2019 at 5:03 p.m. Y'all, by that time, she knows Tylee is dead. Detective Chuck says Tylee was killed September 8th or 9th. So the email was sent hours after we believe Tylee was buried in the backyard. So there you go. This is Lori's mindset. You know, let's just stop for a minute and let's just do this sake of argument stuff. Say she really believed this, or she wanted to believe it, or maybe she just wanted to get rid of the kids. But the bottom line is you would think this damn whore would at least take a day to mourn the death of her children. Instead, no, she's got to get the money flowing some more. That's her objective. That's what she wants. when she stands in judgment, when she is judged by God Almighty, she can explain all of that, don't you know? Flight records from American Airlines are being submitted for evidence. Detective Chuck says there is flight information for Tylee and Lori. Tylee flew to Hawaii twice in February and March of 2019. Lori flew multiple times with American. There are no flight records for J.J. Vallow. And why would she? Why would Lori want J.J. to go along with her to Hawaii? What is this? This is the same woman telling her son Kobe yesterday in an audio call. She's saying, I taken good care of him and all this and that. Well, the bottom line is Lori wanted to go to Hawaii without JJ. She probably put him in the care of care.com. This was February, March of 2019. Let me correct that. This is when she disappeared for 58 days and Charles Vallow had custody of JJ, thank God, at that time. And this was when Kay Woodcock also was coming to help take care of JJ so that Charles Vallow could continue to make money and grow his business so that Lori could continue to take from Charles Vallow, basically. Detective Chuck says on October the 23rd, the day of Tammy Daybell's funeral, y'all, Lori flew from Hawaii to Phoenix. She then flew to Idaho Falls. Oh, yeah, she had to get back to her Big Johnson there. And I'm not saying he had a Big Johnson. I'm just saying he's a damn big piece of crap's what I'm saying. He's got a gherkin. That's what he's got. And before Lori the hussy came along, the concubine Lori there, he was jerking that gherkin. You can be sure of it. It's disgusting. It is, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it because I can't stand these people for what they did. A pickle for just nickels, says Little Bronze. Oh, Renee says, wouldn't Melanie and Zulema need some deprogramming? Well, Renee, if you go on YouTube, one of the world's leading authorities, Rick Ross of the Cult Institute, you can find him on YouTube. He talks about thought reform, i.e. brainwashing. He is an expert in cults. You would be fascinated. Good point there. Lori just couldn't stay away from old Chad long enough. As Detective Chuck is presenting evidence, Lori is taking notes in court. She's chatting with her attorneys. Jurors seem focused on the testimony, although I have seen a few of them yawn. They are allowed coffee, water, drinks, but no food in the courtroom. Attorneys now meeting in a sidebar. And I want to apologize on that note, y'all. I've got my Burger King little potato rounds I've got to eat in order for my brain not to fall out of here into the floor. I'm going to try to keep it quiet and not spit it everywhere. But the bottom line, they're in a sidebar. Yeah, Fiona Gregory says, yes, we all need grub. I've got the Burger King sausage, egg, and cheese croissant. Are y'all jealous? I'm going to take a bite of it right in front of you. Here we go. Mmm. 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 Good morning, Mary LeSueur. Miss DMC. I'm so jealous. Y'all, I live out in Bun Land. I call it, it's really Bun F Egypt. It's just a metaphor, basically. I live way out. The nearest store is like 15 minutes away. And that's not even like, it's like a brick and mortar store. The bottom line is if I get, and guess who brought it to me, y'all? My honey. My honey was out running errands this morning. He gets up very early, and he brought it back for me. And so Burger King, the nearest Burger King to my house is about 25, 27 minutes away from here. Okay? So KJ doesn't get all this stuff all the time. So this is kind of special. I gotta rub it in. Don't y'all know that? We are still in a sidebar, y'all. Yes, he is a good hubby. He is, Deanna 333. Yeah, Fiona Gregory Subway is good. But I like Jersey Mike's. That is the best sub shop that I've ever eaten at. Oh, CHP. That's very sweet of you to say that. Well, Jerry Harris, the bottom line on the humor in this, I'm not making fun of this case. I am making fun of these dang cult members and these damn diabolically evil people that murdered these children, Tammy and Charles, and tried to take Brandon out, and probably murdered Joseph Ryan as well. If y'all haven't caught on to that, because Joseph Ryan was dead, Tylee got that money that Lori eventually co-opted. Then you got Charles Vallow. Lori didn't get the insurance money, but she got those survivor benefits. Okay, while we're on a brief break, I'll post this chart showing Lori's family tree. Our graphic designer, Alex, put this together. So, y'all, I'm going to turn this around so that you can hopefully see it. It's very interesting. Here we go. I hope I'm zeroed in on it. This right here shows all of the different people that's involved in this case. Remember when we first took on this case? It was hard for us to get all of everything together. This right here shows Lori's ex-husbands, William LaGoya and Nelson, I forgot his, James or whatever his last name is. Just think if them two would have stuck around. They'd have been murdered too. So anyway, this does have a lot of people in it. Kelly Fitzgerald, it has basically just been said. It's basically just been said in testimony that there were no prescriptions filled for JJ, which that's evidence that his prescriptions had never been filled. I mean, I hope that answers your question. It's happening right now. We all knew it anyway. That fact had come out long ago. When they served that search warrant on Lori's apartment, they found, I believe it was what? I forgot the amount, but it was under the amount prescribed. It was like 26 or 28 pills left in a prescription for JJ Vallow. It was risperidone, which is commonly prescribed for autistic children or children with ADHD. I'm not sure which one. So the pills were there. This also brings me back to when Lori and a bunch of people got together. These witches, these casting witches, along with Alex Cox and Lori, talking about crushing up pills, some of JJ's medications into Charles's drink. None of these people moved forward and told law enforcement anything. The only time any of them's ever said anything is when they themselves got busted for being part of all this crazy ass stuff. And I guess the big question really is, and I don't know if it'll come out in this trial, is when Alex left to go down to Mexico to get medications, what was he going to get? Was he getting stuff for himself? Because if he did, it obviously didn't keep him from dying in Zulima's bathroom. You're right, Fiona Gregory. It was all about money for Lori. Andrew F., that sounds like something that would happen to me. We're still on a brief break. They're having a sidebar. We're in the middle of Detective Chuck Kusanis, his testimony relating to everything from financial stuff along with the movements, y'all. You got to look past, the money aspect. Look, where were they? What were they doing there? Who was there? I mean, this goes back to Melody P. talking about she didn't know there was anything wrong or anything with the kids, and yet she's traveling around with Lori. And we all know in Ian's document, she talks about basically the way I've read it. She was starting to get told either by herself, her own damn stupid ass, lying ass revelations, and I'm talking about these people, or she was told by Chad and Lori that her kids had to go. If none of this would have went down, y'all, and the kids were not reported missing by Kay, and all of this failed attempt on Brandon Boudreaux and everything, I am just going to, this ain't a reach for me to say that there would have been more children murdered. Melanie Pulowski's, in fact, I believe. John Shepard, I do believe Lori is even Steven with old chatty boy. I believe that they're both as evil can get. It takes someone with that kind of evilness to just basically sacrifice your children for a lot of reasons, really. I think the ultimate reason was she just got tired of taking care of them, but she didn't want no one else. Kobe says, Mama, I would have taken them. I would have taken care of them. And she says, that's what everybody says. Well, everybody damn well meant it. She just didn't want people to see her have to give her children up. She didn't want to give up the money that her children was giving her. And while we're on this sidebar, this is a good time for me to kind of give y'all my view about Kobe's phone call with his hussy-ass mother. When Kobe says to Lori that it's pure blasphemy, and she starts giggling, I want y'all to go back and I want y'all to listen to that. That is demon possession, y'all. That's not mental illness. That's demon possession. That's my opinion. Some of y'all don't believe in that stuff, and that's fine. I respect if you do or you don't. Whatever your belief system is your own. I respect that everyone has their own view. But when she giggles, to me, I sense it. Also, Lori talks about Tylee's health and taking care of JJ, and I've done covered that, but you would think this woman wouldn't even bring that up. This was ordained that they go, This was important. This was saving her children. She doesn't say anything about that. She's talking about, oh, poor me, Lori, had to take care of Tylee and JJ all this time. What the hell's that got to do with the fact that the children were murdered and buried in her nasty-ass husband's backyard? And Kobe talks to her about this can't be, anything having to do with Jesus Christ. He wants Lori to say the words, Jesus Christ wanted me to do this. That's what he wanted her to say. She never did say that. Now, he says, at one point, he says, Jesus being on her side, and she said, yes, Jesus was on her side. But you know what, y'all? Here's the bottom line on that. People sin all over the world and have for since the beginning all the way up to now and down the road and everything else. You can ask for forgiveness of your sins if you definitely, deeply are sorrowful and remorseful. And, you can ask Jesus to forgive you of your sins. But, like I've told y'all right now, Chad and Lori are not asking for forgiveness. In the Holy Scripture, it talks about confess with your mouth, and the Lord is faithful and just to cleanse you of that. They've never confessed with their mouth. They're not going to. Because in my opinion, they're demon possessed. They're no different than what they were saying to other people. They can use the term zombies all they want. What I'm trying to let y'all understand is, why wouldn't Lori tell Kobe, Jesus Christ told me to do this? He was asking her to tell him those exact words. She wasn't going to say it. She knew better. She could giggle about pure blasphemy of what they were doing, Lori and Chad and all them. She can laugh at that because that demon's in there. The bottom line is she could not say that out loud. She couldn't. You know why? Because a demon can't say that, I don't think. This is just my view, y'all. Just my view. Why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she have just appeased Kobe? Still on a sidebar, y'all. Okay, now, she admits, y'all, in that audio phone call with Kobe, she admits that she knew what happened. In fact, she says, quote, they love me and they are fine, talking about the children, and they know the truth, and we are the only people who do. So she is basically letting Kobe know. I mean, I don't believe at all about this they love me and they're fine stuff, but she is basically letting Kobe know that her and Chad and Alex and I believe Zulema and Melanie Gibb and the rest of them, but let's just look at Lori and Chad. They knew exactly what happened. She wants to dress it up that and basically what she's saying to Kobe is, the kids, they understand now that they're off at their whatever, other planet, heaven, wherever she thinks they are. She's trying to make it seem like it's okay. She's trying to be an apologist for the cult behavior that she went down the rabbit hole with Chad Daybell with. But I just want to say this, y'all. If I could say something, if I could call Lori up in her jail cell, and I could say something to her, you know what I would say? Matthew chapter 7, verse 21 through 23. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven. And this is Jesus talking. But he who does the will of my Father in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, and done many wonders in your name? And then Jesus is going to declare to them in his own words, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. Lawlessness. I think everybody knows what lawlessness is. That's what Chad and Lori did. The next exhibit shows Southwest Airlines records. JJ had 6 trips between Phoenix and Houston. His last trip was on June the 16th of 2019. That's about a month before Charles was murdered, y'all. No flights were found for Tylee Ryan. I'm trying to get this, y'all. I have this timeline thing in my head, and every time I get one of those dates, I stick it in that little folder in there. Okay, Allegiant Airlines records are now being shown. There were no flights recorded for JJ and Tylee, but multiple flights were taken between Mesa, Phoenix, and Idaho Falls for Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, and Melanie Boudreaux in 2019. What does this mean, y'all? What does this mean? What is this going to mean? Well, perhaps we're going to have to take time to let this soak into us. But just looking at it at face value, these flights were being taken by these cult members, Chad and Lori, the freaking king and queen of the 144,000. You know, it's kind of strange, is it not? They're talking about they can teleport to Hawaii and all this shit. And yet here they are taking all these flights, probably using, well, we know Lori purchased several flights for Chad Daybell. Why couldn't he afford his own shit? Huh? Why couldn't he do that? Well, maybe perhaps he had his wife Tammy, because this was back in June of 2019 and all that year of 2019 before Tammy was murdered. He probably, just as Lori tried to lie and say Charles wanted him to come, would pay all his expenses. Chad probably had Tammy believing that he was this jet setter. Oh, got some business in Mesa, Arizona, or whatever, or Phoenix. And Lori's paying to have her gherkin close to her. And then you've got to look at Melanie Boudreaux. She received money from the sale of her and Brandon's home when they split up. It just seems like these people were doing a lot of traveling. And this phone call yesterday that I've given y'all a little bit of whatever this or that my observations of, nothing speaks more than the comments of the Rays on here. And so I want to share some of those comments in between these tweets. We're trying to fill air, y'all, and with relevance, okay? Former Republican has made a comment about Kobe and Lori's call yesterday, saying the sniffling of Kobe crying on the stand whilst listening to this call, it literally breaks my heart. Ann Gibson 9682 says, heartbreaking for all the families in court today to listen to Lori laughing and arguing with Kobe that she is right to do such evil. I'm so glad Kobe got the chance to say to her what I'm sure all the victims in this would like to say. In my opinion, she is a danger to society. I think she was evil before Chad and two evils met, and this is the outcome. God bless Charles, Tylee, JJ, Tammy, and Joseph Ryan. I am disappointed, y'all, that Lori's voice wasn't more clear on that recording, because you can pick up a lot about the tone of someone's voice. But when she let out that giggle, I wanted to come through the screen and beat the shit out of the woman. All right? That's what I wanted to do. Jen Mars says, I just heard Detective Chuck break down. What a heart-wrenching day in court. Between Kobe and this detective, what a damaging day of testimony for Lori. If the jury didn't already loathe this woman, taking every last penny of her murdered children's money and the money of her murdered husband's, this probably clinched it. There's something very traumatic about seeing or hearing grown men cry. It's my kryptonite. Yes, monsters are real, and right now there are a cluster of them in Idaho. And Jenmar, that's a great point there about grown men crying. But I can tell you this right now: I don't have a bit of sympathy or compassion over that damn asshole Chad Daybell sitting there crying while he's giving Alex Cox a blessing. What a freak out! He is a jerk. He's ignorant. The next document that's entered is from Etsy, y'all. And y'all raised on here know exactly what this is, because I do. I know y'all educated me and I've educated you. It shows that on August the 15th of 2019, y'all, let's put that in perspective. That was before Lori and Alex and the kids moved to Rexburg, but it was after Charles Vallow was murdered. Lori Vallow ordered a glow-in-the-dark malachite titanium ring. The email on the order was lollytime@icloud.com, and the shipping address was to a home on Four Peaks Place in Chandler, Arizona. So she was getting ready. Y'all know for those that don't know, Etsy is a site where people they create these things themselves, and then Etsy kind of puts it out there for people to buy. It's homemade stuff, things that are original stuff and all that. Well, I don't know if they're going to say it. I don't mean to be a spoiler, but this fella who was selling these glow-in-the-dark malachite titanium rings on Etsy had sent her a message back saying, I'm not going to be able to fulfill your order. He was talking about he had finals coming in college or something and just wasn't going to have the time to do that. So, i.e., this goes to Lori. She had to go with that malachite crap. She goes on to Charles Vallow's Amazon account and orders them. But this is something I didn't know, y'all. The credit card that Lori used for that order was declined. So I'm curious to know which credit card that was that Lori tried to use in order to order that glow-in-the-dark malachite titanium ring. So not only I guess she had to use another one because she did place the order. Wood has concluded with questioning Detective Chuck. Jim Archibald says he has reviewed all the documents and has no questions for Detective Chuck, y'all. The detective will be called again to discuss other items pertaining to the investigation, Wood says. So we're on to the next witness, y'all. We don't know who this is going to be. We've had a couple of y'all say it's an FBI agent. What do y'all think? Put it in the comments. Who's coming up next? Right, Eric. 2 rings for $19.99. Nice wedding rings, Lori. Oh, Renee says FBI. We've got someone that says Summer. Melanie P. Leslie says Melanie. I guess Pulowski. Sherilyn says Mike Douglas. Well, maybe y'all are ahead of me. I'm sitting here eating my sandwich. John Shepard, there ain't no way that Chad Daybell is going to be testifying in Lori's trial here. Because you got to ask that question, what would he testify to? What could Chad Daybell testify to without implicating himself, first of all, and opening himself up to cross-examination? You think John Pryor's going to allow Chad Daybell to come and throw Lori under the bus at Lori's trial? No, it'll never happen. Never happen. You got to remember, he's got his own damn shit. They got to focus on his trial. There it is. Y'all were right. Mike Douglas will be the next witness, but it appears he's not here. Rob Wood leaves the courtroom to try and track him down, and Rachel Smith has joined prosecutors at their table. That's right, the snozberries taste like snozberries. You can't be asked to testify against your spouse, although they can volunteer it if they want to, but I'm telling you, ain't no way. But I'll tell you this. Y'all are going to make fun of me if I'm wrong, but I'm telling you, I'm dead set on it. Lori Hussey Daybell will take the stand. You mark me on it. You mark me on it. So they're looking for Mike Douglas right now, y'all. Fremont County Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Tanya Rollins will be questioning Douglas. She says several documents will be admitted into evidence during this testimony. You know, Diane, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Lori was talking with Chad. I would say John Pryor would tell Chad, don't take her calls. You're right, Jennifer. Lori can't help herself. Pamela Dimer, yeah, think about it. She wanted her speedy trial. She's been acting the way she has pre-trial and even during this trial. Smiling, chatting. All of this evidence. This is just week 2, basically. It's damning as hell. What other recourse does she have? And you think that Archie and Thomas is going to tell Lori, no, Lori, don't. You'll open yourself up to cross-examination. Or don't do it, Lori, because you've got such a fragile mental state. Let me tell you something about this woman's fragile mental state. She was diabolical in everything she did. Sharp as evil can be. She knew how to plan everything. She was opening, closing accounts. She was getting on freaking airplanes. This woman has no fragile mind. She is possessed by an evil-ass demon spirit as far as old KJ's concerned. Let me tell you, Rowan, to you, if Lori says, I am going on that stand, and I don't care what you say, Archie and Thomas, she'll go. They can't make her not go on the stand. Just as they told her and was stated in open court by Archibald, we expressed to our client that we needed more time, but she has made it clear she wants her speedy trial. She's already demonstrated that she don't give a shit about what her attorneys think is best for her. Oh, they can't stop her. And they're not going to. They'll try to. They'll try to advise her about this. But when she gets up there and says, and the judge says, now you make this choice willingly, and she says yes, then the judge will say, and your attorneys have advised you not to, or you've had advice from your attorneys. They won't say that the attorneys told her not to, but they're going to say, and you have gotten advice from your attorneys, and this is the decision that you willingly make. She can cry all she damn well wants after doing it, that maybe she shouldn't have taken the stand. But the bottom line is the judge will go down those questions with her before she testifies on the record so that she can't say ineffective assistance of counsel. It's just as pure and simple as that. So we're still waiting on Mike Douglas, y'all. And Tanya Rawlings, one of the prosecutors, for the state there is going to be doing the direct examination. We are still waiting for Mike Douglas, y'all. Right, Cook Goose in Florida. She has to. I don't know. I mean, if she is basically saying, according to her attorneys, that she didn't know before, she didn't know after, and she wasn't the principal offender, then why is it, y'all, that in Archibald's opening statement, the only thing that he even scratches the surface of that's been put in a past legal document, in his opening statement, he only talks about, well, you've got to prove that she conspired. Why wouldn't he have said, I'm telling you now, jurors, she didn't know before, she didn't know after, and she wasn't the principal offender, i.e. a legal document on file, in this case, Lori's alibi. Why wouldn't he have framed it that way? Huh? We're still waiting, y'all. And while we're waiting, I want to read a few more of these comments about Kobe Ryan's call with his mother. Red Squirrel says Kobe is the only one who could call her out and make her face accountability, and he did it. What a hero for his murdered family victims. I think the whole world is proud of Kobe today. She is just the devil. The death penalty should be there. I wonder if the adult Daybell children have ever confronted their father over Tammy's death. I hope they will have the strength of personality and love for their mother, which Kobe had shown to his family. If they haven't, they need to think about it. And Red Squirrel is correct on that. But then again, at Chad's arraignment, where he sat there and said, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, his children were sitting right behind him. Then you got Emma and her brothers and sisters going on Dateline, talking about that Lori and Alex framed her father and all of that crap. It's sad, really. They've lost their mother, and they're definitely going to lose out ever seeing their dad outside free again, in my opinion. Now, let's just keep in mind who Mike Douglas is. Mike Douglas is a forensic accountant with the FBI. He's reviewed bank accounts associated with Lori and Tylee. Laney the Wolf, they're trying to track him down. He is a forensic accountant with the FBI. They might have to go on to the next witness if they can't find him. And just a reminder, Nate Eaton noticed a few of the jurors were yawning. Maybe they're trying to wake up. And just to let y'all know, Tammy Daybell has a brother named Michael Douglas. But this is not him testifying. It's another Mike Douglas, okay? So, and I was thinking that too, but I thought, well, I'm going to wait because I wasn't 100% sure. But now that I see it, will Tammy Daybell's brother, Michael Douglas, down the road in this trial testify? I have no idea. Okay, then you got Jen Marr talks about, I just heard to take a Chuck breakdown. I think, let's see. I might have read that one. Yeah, I've read that one. Usually Zuzlik says, you weren't there. You don't know what happened, says Lori. That means Lori was there, the final nail in her coffin. How much more does a jury member need? It's a good point, Zuzlik. K-Tech says, I was glad to hear someone tell her those things to her face. And Bryn Marshall says, that hussy laughed. What the hell? She plainly admitted to all of it, in my opinion. Put a fork in her and call her done. We are waiting on the FBI forensic accountant, Mike Douglas. Oh, Bat Two Cats saw Crenshaw and Cuomo last night. It is so sad. Hey, for all of you, including you old Bat Two Cats, I didn't know it was going to happen last night. Can y'all give me the rundown? I'm going to look for it when we go on lunch break. But did she do good? Did Crenshaw do good? Old Bat Two Cats? Lisa Fisher says it's on News Nation. Thank you, old Bat Two Cats. I knew she would. Jill Pelliter said Crenshaw was amazing. Oh, Daughter of Scotland says, looked like they cut out a lot of what she wanted to say. Isn't that how the media works, y'all? Rainy April said she thought Crenshaw did real well. Oh, they cut her off before she could say what she wanted to, though. It's sad. That's why I'm always saying, if you really want to know what's going on in a lot of areas of this cultish beliefs and stuff, go to Crenshaw K. Easton of Difficult Research. She's got one hell of a catalog. Yeah, Eric, I'm going to be looking for it too. When she said she was going to go on Cuomo, I didn't know it was going to be that evening, or I'd have been right there watching it live. You know, Jet Set Jay, I don't know. I'm not going to go there because everyone on here knows how I feel about that woman. Okay. So, Mike Douglas, the FBI guy, he takes the stand. And Rollins is asking him to explain the first exhibit that will be admitted. It's a timeline he prepared relating to Tylee's life from when her father, Joseph Ryan, passed away. The next exhibit is a timeline related to JJ from Charles Vallow's death moving forward. So this is interesting. This shows you how Lori rolls. This is just an opinion. They're probably going to show the jury there ain't much different in terms of what Lori did once these men were basically taken out. I mean, Charles Vallow was murdered. Joseph Ryan under very suspicious, they closed the case on Joseph Ryan, but saying there wasn't evidence, but I disagree. So they've got these two timelines. And it kind of looks like, hey, Lori, she had her reasons for having her children. Those were to get that money, don't you know? Douglas wrote the dates the kids were killed on the timelines. Archibald asked him if he determined those dates or if they were told to him. And Douglas says they were told to him. Archibald asked if the rest of the dates on the timeline are correct. And Douglas says they are. This is all kind of starting to fill in a little bit for me. Tylee wasn't going to be around much longer. She was going to be an adult. So Lori knew that dang money spout, or whatever you want to call it, was going to be cut off. Also, you take into consideration that her and Alex, Lori and Alex, I believe, along with Chad's conspiring, took out Charles Vallow, and they didn't get the $1 million, But she realized that Kay Woodcock was hot on her trail, and she knew that, there wasn't going to be any big payout for that one. And she just, what I'm saying is she must have at some point decided, I don't have to have the kids with me, i.e., I'll murder them in order to get what they could have given me, if that makes sense. There's also a timeline that FBI accountant Douglas calls the grand theft timeline, that he prepared to help the jury understand the financial information he learned through his investigation. And y'all know that grand theft by deception was attached to the murder charges. I was often wondering, okay, what do they mean by grand theft by deception? But at the same time, they have separate charges of Social Security benefits fraud, Social Security fraud and stuff. And I was like, well, what, is this the same thing, but they're able to charge them twice with separate charges because it lines up with Idaho code? Or is this grand theft something different? So maybe this will be fleshed out for me. The next exhibit that is entered is a timeline detailing Tammy Daybell's life insurance policy. And as many of us know, Chad and Tammy Daybell was at home on that Sunday, September the 8th of 2019, while Tylee and JJ, Lori and Alex was at Yellowstone National Park. And it says in the murder indictment that Tammy Daybell knew and was signing with Chad Daybell on the increase of her life map insurance. Now, that doesn't make Chuck any less guilty of insurance fraud. He could have told Tammy anything. He could have said, well, Tammy, it's time to update this. Anything. He could have told her anything. He could have told her, I'm going to increase mine and I need you to increase yours. He just so happened to do it during the time that Lori was trying to murder the kids and succeeded, basically. Douglas has another prepared document detailing Venmo activity. Y'all, let me grab something to drink. Money changes everything. Oh, what? You think YouTube will bump me off for singing a Cyndi Lauper song? It's ridiculous. This channel doesn't monetize. This channel doesn't want a penny from anyone. I got my own pennies. Pennies from heaven. Okay, Nate wants everyone to know that he's misspelled Michael Douglas's last name. He has 2 S's, not 1. And Nate says, my apologies. Nate Eaton is such a class act. His wife, Erica, is beautiful. They have a beautiful family. He's worked so hard. Justin Lum has a beautiful wife and child. Just wonderful, wonderful men. Good examples of good men. I love to see it. Andrew F. says, time after time. You say go slow, I fall behind. Yeah, real men, CHP. Yep, Vix Tech says Nate and Justin with a bunch of hearts, y'all. I'm waiting on a refresh, y'all. And again, I want to thank all of y'all for being here, going through this with old KJ. I know it's a little weird to have to go blow by blow on the tweets when we know the audio's coming out later. But damn, y'all. You think I was going to be like, oh, I've worked on this case for 2 damn years with some really incredible people, i.e. the Rays, and I'm not going to look at anything today. I'm just going to wait for the audio to come out in the evening. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. John Shepard said Charles Vallow was a really good man when he sounded like he would not hurt anyone. And John, I got to meet with Kay and Larry and Crescia in their home in Louisiana, and they told me all kinds of things about Charles and just so many wonderful qualities that he had. There have been so many times in the comments that people have said any woman would have been proud to be the wife of Charles Vallow. It's sad, really. That's why we seek justice through understanding. Well, you're welcome, Janelle Murphy. I love you, daughter of Scotland. Heather Strock said, I just watched Crescia. She did awesome. T. Hedrick says, I made it live for once, at least for a while. LOL. Glad you're here. Nate Eaton confronted Chad and Lori in Hawaii, says Vic Tex. Yeah, that will go down in history, don't y'all think? Okay, so Douglas, who is on the stand with the FBI, he is a forensic accountant. He is showing Lori Vallow's BBVA bank statements. He says he has worked with Mark Serrari. Remember, Mark Serrari was yesterday's short testimony. He was being that he was from the Social Security Administration. He was an agent investigating. So they're looking at Lori's bank statements now. You know, the queen of the 144,000 has to have, oh shit. I knew I shouldn't have stuck that there. The queen of the 144,000 has to have bank accounts and all that stuff, don't you know? Tell us what is in Lori's bank account statements. Douglas, we want to know. I gotta wipe this up. It's gonna aggravate me to death if I don't. Okay, Jay, just a clumsy old girl. I knocked my drink over, y'all, and I gotta clean it up. And that's that. Okay. Now, Tanya Rollins shows Douglas's, Tolly's, JP Morgan Chase, and BBVA accounts beginning January the 1st of 2019. There are around 70 transactions a month on Chase, with most of them being made by brick and mortar accounts. Over time, activity shifts to the BBVA account. Andrew F., you should be ashamed. I'm picking on you. Financial crimes will always bring people down, says Lisa Fisher seems to think that Lori need vaginal reconstruction surgery, y'all. You think Lori got to the point where, her being the old cheerleader that she was, she wanted to get in touch with her good old days of doing the splits, but every time she did it, she stuck to the floor. Yeah, John Shepherd, it does. It blows everybody's mind that all these murders, people were dropping like flies. Well, I have to read the comments, and Lisa Fisher did say that maybe Lori used the money for vaginal reconstruction surgery, okay? Okay, now let's get serious. Tylee was responsible with her money. I never saw her have one negative balance, said Douglas. She had 2 automatic payments set up, her Jeep and T-Mobile accounts. The money she received from Charles's death went into the Chase account. Excuse me. I think Nate might have made an error here. I think he meant to say the money she received following Joseph Ryan's death went into the Chase account. But maybe she got money from Charles too. I just remember them setting it up where they had 2 timelines, JJ and Charles and Tylee and Joseph Ryan. I think these jurors are probably looking at this, and they're this is important testimony, y'all, because it does go hand in hand with the financial crimes, but it says so much more to me that Lori, this mentally fragile woman, which is a crock, she knew how to get it, didn't she? She knew how to get that money. She knew how to take from everyone. Right, old bat, 2 cats. Everybody has said that for the last 2 years. There's nothing attractive about Chad Daybell at all. He's nasty. He reminds me of that Sling Blade guy, except the Sling Blade guy actually did some good by getting rid of that abusive person. But, when he goes up there, the Sling Blade guy says, give me some taters. You got any of them taters? That reminds me of Chad Daybell so much. He's lumpy dumpy. I mean, we've had every kind of thing to say about the man. Now, Douglas says that Joe Ryan held a life insurance policy. Death benefits of $60,000 were paid into a bank account held by Lori. I know they're saying Lori Vallow, but I'm talking about Lori Cox, or Lori Hussey Daybell, on August 26th of 2018. So Lori Hussey there got $60,000 from Joe Ryan's life insurance policy. There are certain questions that people have about Chad Daybell's appearance and his demeanor and the way he acted and all this and that. There's always going to be questions about why women were so drawn to him, as one of you have stated on here. The only thing I can say is maybe they weren't looking at him in a visual sense. This could have something to do with the fact that the organized religion of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints only allow men to be priesthood holders and all this stuff, and that they have all this authority, and so women are I guess what you call more submissive, more subservient. This is just an opinion. This is from my observations. And maybe these women were just looking, at Chad in this way that they felt like they could get away with without anybody really saying anything to them by looking his way. All they would have to say is, oh, he's just an author of some books. I just find his books fascinating. But maybe they had more for him than, you know what I'm saying? I mean, these are just theories. We're still waiting on a refresh, y'all. Come on, Nate. And here's something else that I find quite interesting. I mean, is it me, or is there a lot of members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the insurance business? I mean, it just seems like everybody's an insurance salesman. Honestly, I just want y'all to know this. As far as I'm concerned, I understand why people need insurance. You know, whether it's car insurance or whatever. But it just seems like these insurance companies just take everybody for a ride. They've got so many ways of saying why they won't help you if you need it. It's almost like you pay premiums, but you don't never get to use it, you know? And if you can use it, I would say, you know, you got all these dang rules and jump through all these hoops. And I mean, life insurance, or, you know, homeowners insurance, or, you know, car insurance or health insurance and all that. They need to just abolish the insurance industry. I know that seems extreme to y'all, but they make so much damn money off of people, and then they're not there doing the service that they say they're supposed to be doing. Okay, so now Douglas is saying, I found through my research on September 8th that Kobe had requested Tylee to send him a Venmo payment. Tylee responded back that she did not have the funds in her account and that Miss Daybell was receiving them. So y'all think about that. Tylee's letting Kobe know she ain't got control over her money anymore. And this was on September the 8th, which Tylee could have been murdered on the 8th or 9th. Lori had complete control over Tylee's money. Maybe, you know, time was up for Lori now. She had to get rid of Tylee. Also, on this same day, which I had said to y'all earlier, on September 8th of 2019, Chad Daybell searched the wind direction of south-southwest. He also, which Nate doesn't say this, but I know it to be a fact, on that same day, he is upping Tammy's insurance with Tammy there, signing. And with that, y'all, Nate says it's time for a mid-morning break. We'll be back in 20 minutes. So what do y'all want to do for 20 minutes? Maybe I've got some questions. Yeah, that's right, Paula. You file a claim, they either say we can't pay it, we're not going to pay it, they'll cancel you, or if they do have to pay it, these insurance companies are freaking damn, to me, Ponzi schemes, basically. That's my opinion. Of course, with that said, Wayne and I pay thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars in all types of insurance. Marvin says insurance companies never lose money. Normally, family and friends claim. Jody Allen says, are the recorded calls or talks from Ian on YouTube? I haven't heard Ian's voice. I do know there's that Ian's document that you can find online. All you have to do is go to East Idaho News and see the document where he wrote all that out. I'm sure you probably have already read that. So, I don't know. But also, I want to thank all those that have been commenting on anything that I have been putting on the community wall. It's important that we continue to keep that dialogue open. Lori was probably passing herself off as Tammy to raise Tammy's life insurance. Maria P., I wouldn't put it past that, but on that same day, Lori is with Alex and the kids at Yellowstone National Park. So she can, I don't think she can be at two places at once, although, Chad's got a portal in his house, don't you know? Yeah, all of y'all, while we're taking this 20-minute break, go watch the Cuomo interview, or go on Krisha K. Easton's Difficult Research. Go on her community wall. I don't know what her latest post is on her community wall, but put in there, hey, Krisha, great job, or whatever. Do that. LaDonna Nick, the reason why that Chad Daybell was checking for wind direction in his backyard was because he didn't want the smell going over toward his neighbors. Because he and Alex were going to burn up Tylee Ryan. They've got the evidence that Alex was out there through his GPS for 2.5 hours. You got Chad there in the backyard within 11 minutes of the last ping on Alex's phone, texting Tammy, his wife at the time, saying there's coming storms. I'm burning limb debris, and I shot a raccoon in the backyard. It's pathetic. These people thought they were going to get away with it, but you know how it goes. Kelly Fitzgerald says, I hope the neighbor testifies about burning and the putrid smell. Mohawk Mom says something sad. Burning a body smells like a pig roast, sadly. Yeah, Andrew F. Chad does blow. Let's see. Oh, well, thank you, Beverly. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Yeah, I gotta, hold on just a minute. I got my son trying to get a hold of me on my phone, so I've got to go on here and instant message him. All right, y'all. So we're in a break. I'm going to try to read some more of y'all's comments. Leila Jade, I wanted to just kind of air things out yesterday by doing a little freaky dance. And the bottom line is YouTube took my afternoon day 6 video off where no one could see it. So, and it wasn't even what, maybe 20 seconds, 20, 25, 30 seconds at the most of music. These people are ridiculous. And if I didn't have to come on here, if there was some way, I mean, it'd be different if I was trying to make money or something like that. It ain't like that at all. It's just living life every day. A lot of us love music. A lot of us like to act goofy. It ain't like I'm using somebody's copyrighted music to make money or something like that. It's stupid. Well, you're welcome, Jody Allen. I'm afraid to do that now. A great idea says Beethoven is not copyrighted, but I'm afraid to even try it. I'm afraid think about what we spent, 3 hours in the afternoon, and nobody gets to watch it except for the people that watched it live. All because I was stupid, basically, wanting to get up and act like a damn idiot. Angel Donmeyer says, Krisha did awesome. He did cut her off. Yeah. Can you believe that shit, John Shepherd? I mean, who the hell am I? I've got a little rinky-dink channel here. I mean, the people that come and visit it mean a lot to me, but the bottom line is it's not like I'm, and I don't monetize. Would never do that. The bottom line is these people, they're just at YouTube. I don't know if it's a automatic thing or whether these YouTube workers go on there and go, oh, there you go, KJ. You played music for 20 seconds. Let's take your whole freaking video down. They're keeping an eye on my ass. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So we are in a 20-minute break. So Susie Adrian says after they murdered Charles, I bet they had Tylee so scared with threats. Did anyone hear if she was allowed to be with her friends? They made sure she didn't have access to her money or probably her Jeep. Of course, she's long dead when the Jeep gets towed, but Harley62 says that she thinks that they also took Tylee's phone, which there's evidence of that after Tylee's death. Whether they took it before, I don't know. Maybe that will be kind of fleshed out in all this. I don't know Jody Allen. I don't. I'm not going to talk about that because I just want y'all to know that it's clear to me. Pretty clear. Maria P., if that's the case, if I was criticizing the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and maybe that's why my video got down, y'all would have never gotten to see a single damn video. Because there's I wasn't criticizing that organized religion. There are certain aspects of that religion that I don't agree with, but then again, there are people out here in the world, and there's probably some on here that don't agree with my beliefs. Who am I anyway, right? I played a blank tape full blast last night. Drove the my next door neighbor, I guess the nuts. You're the only spotlight. Some nut probably reported you. Well, you know what? This is what I've told y'all. If somehow I get bumped off here or something happens, trust me, KJ's going to be around until I'm not around. Michelle Dawn Maneri, I wrote you several comments and questions you haven't mentioned yet, KJ. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you put them in the comments now and I'll try to get to them, because I'm telling you, All of you. I am not ignoring anybody. I'm trying my best to do this. Okay? So there's nothing personal if you don't get your question answered, but I will do my best if you put it in the comments. Rainy April says that nobody has to report me on YouTube. Their algorithms pick it up. And I'm waiting on that question if there was something you wanted to know. But, like many Rays on here know, you can ask me the questions and maybe I have the answers, but maybe I don't, because I'm not an authority on anything. I'm just a good old girl from Tennessee that opened this channel to get justice through understanding. I don't want you to stop YouTube, KJ. I hope you change your mind, says Jay Blake. Well, I can't do that. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. And I wish I could explain that. Well, I appreciate all of y'all, Deborah Blue. I do. And again, if anybody on here feels like I've ignored them or I'm not answering their questions fast enough or maybe I've missed it, y'all got to understand something. There's a lot of people that's commenting. And I'm trying to get educated from the comments. And I guess people in the comments, some of them are wanting me to educate them, but I'm telling you now that, it's I don't have all the answers. I wished I did. I'd share them. And that's a good point. We got Tina Reddington in here who can answer a lot of these questions. Any of the Rays in here, if y'all see any of the questions that I missed, I'm trying really hard here. Just give me a break, y'all. I'm doing the best I know how to do. I don't claim to be able to do it all. Amen. BH, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. My mom and I are watching you, and we love you. Oh, how sweet, Andy Carter. Andy Carter's mom, hello. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Beverly. Thank you, Leela. Thank you, Shadow of Lotus. And that's exactly true, Shadow of Lotus. We're learning together. Like I said, y'all, I'm a 52-year-old Tennessee, born and raised woman out of Tennessee. I have nothing more than anybody else. That's right, Ashley Shannon. Lori is a hussy. Andrew S. says, Rocky Top. Rocky Top, you'll always be home, sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top. Woo! Rocky Top, Tennessee. And I wonder if YouTube's going to take this video down. Wonder. Hi, Evangeline Light. Hello. Oh, wait a minute. John says, my wife stumbled onto your channel a few days ago and you have us laughing so hard at your humor. Well, I'm glad to get some smiles and laughter out of people, because I'm telling you what, this damn case pisses me off. It bothers me so much. And as many of y'all know, I've met some of these victims' family members in person, spent time with them. I care very deeply about the adjudication of this case. Daughter of Scotland, I wouldn't have any bravery at all to do this if it wouldn't be for people like you, okay? All of you. Y'all are very precious to me. You mean a lot to me. And again, if y'all see anything in here attacking anything or anyone in here, please block them, report them, or ignore them. Jay Blake says, I don't feel like the defense has done anything yet. Well, Jay Blake, I honestly don't see where they're going. And to be honest with y'all, the only time that it even looked like they were trying was when Thomas was with Zulema yesterday. Was it yesterday? Near the end of her testimony. It seemed like he actually did a little homework. Then you look at Archibald. He's sitting there flipping through Kobe Ryan's published book that Kobe Ryan did and bringing out certain things. What is he trying to say? That Lori was this wonderful mother? Well, perhaps she was back then. But we're talking about a damn hussy who murdered a 7-year-old autistic little boy and a 16-year-old beautiful young woman. All for nothing. Oh, this woman says, oh, when I stand before Jesus, you're going to understand all this, Kobe, when we stand before Jesus. What the hell's she doing right now? She is absolutely in a jail cell and sitting on trial in a triple murder case. What, is she saying that Jesus Christ wanted her to go through all this? That Jesus Christ wants her to spend the rest of her freaking life in prison? Give me a break. I can tell you, Kelly Fitzgerald, if Lori goes on the stand, she's going to go right down the same road that the rest of these damn ignorant ass cult members did. Zulema and Melanie Gibb. Starting off. Oh, we trusted them. We believed them. And remember, y'all, in jury voir dire, they talked about just because you hear something that you yourself don't believe, some religious beliefs that you don't believe, you can't use that against them. So these jurors know, they know that they have to put their own personal biases aside about whatever they might believe or do not believe or whatever. You know, when I sit here and say that Lori and Chad and was talking about they were Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit and all that, that to me is blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, which in Holy Scripture is the unforgivable sin, right? So the bottom line is, well, what if my beliefs to someone else is a crock? You see what I'm saying? They have to put the religious beliefs aside. And really, and this has been troubling to me also, y'all. I've seen a few comments, not necessarily on here, but I've seen some on Nate Eaton's when he does his Courtroom Insider, and other channels that have kind of been given the rundown later in the evening, talking about you really are not seeing any evidence that Lori conspired or murdered her children. And I'm like, what the hell? What are these people not seeing it? Do they not want to take the time to understand what Idaho law says the definition of conspiracy to commit murder is? Or first degree murder, what that really is in Idaho law, which, by the way, these jurors are going to be looking straight at the definition of these charges. What is first degree murder? What is conspiracy to commit murder? What is grand theft? What is Social Security fraud? What is this? What is that, right? And they're going to have to say, do we see this? Well, I'm telling you as I sit here, even if I didn't know all that I've learned over this 2 years, there are a lot of people I'm seeing in the comments are like, this is the first time I even knew this was going on, and I'm watching it, and it's just crazy and all this and that. Hell, man, the first week was enough. How could a juror look at those graphic photos of those children's bodies, knowing the mother was supposed to be there to protect them? How can they not make a healthy inference toward her guilt? So I don't know if people are just putting that in the comments to get a rise out of people or what, or maybe they're really, really not seeing it. I don't know, but I see it. I see it as clear as crystal, and many of y'all do as well. So we're still in the mid-morning break. They said they'd be back in 20 minutes. And according to this tweet, when he said we're going to be back in 20 minutes, it's been 20 minutes. So hopefully we'll get back to this. Right, Eric. I mean, does anybody... I'll tell you what, who is going to answer that question, Eric? Who is going to answer the question that only Lori can answer? When the question is asked, how did your children end up in Chad Daybell's backyard? Nobody else can answer that other than to say you've got text messages, GPS, things of that sort that are not going to give you an actual photograph of, how they ended up in the backyard, but you can make those inferences about it all. Because here's the bottom line, y'all, when it comes to criminal law, basically, and the adjudication of a criminal case, specifically murder, how many of them actually do have the smoking gun? How many do have actual photographs of the murder being taking place? You have to take the evidence that was collected during investigation, put it together, figure out what it is that it means, how it's going to be used, how it's going to be structured into a case that juror members can see. They can see the evidence. Obviously, the state wants the jurors to see this evidence the way that the state wants them to see it. But this goes back again to a few things them jurors, through that lens that the jurors looking at the evidence, they've got to go by jury instructions. They got to go by the law. They got to go by their own common sense. They have to think about what it really means in terms of reasonable doubt. I'm going to tell you what, that just as Cresha K. Easton of Difficult Research said, as she was going to court and all that, saying there's things that she will not be able to unsee, what do you think them jurors doing their civic duty, having to sit there? I won't lie to y'all. If I could be, unbiased, which I know I couldn't, but just say, for instance, I could, I would really like to sit on a jury in this case, just to see all this unfold. But I know I wouldn't be a good juror, because I know that Chad and Lori, Alex, Zulema, Melanie Gibb, David Warwick, Melanie Pulowski, all of them, known and unknown, they're all evil, diabolical serial killers. Every damn one of them. They all need to be in prison. That's just me. There'll be some people out here that are like, oh, KJ, there's no proof that Zulema or any of them knew. And isn't that just convenient? They knew Charles was dead. And, wonder what Melanie P. was thinking after Brandon let her know that, and the police let Melanie P. know that Brandon was being shot at. Oh, Ian said it. Melanie P. told him in his document that Chad and Lori said that it only was an inch from his head. Melanie P. knew the situation. And they'll just have to live with it. So, y'all, it's been 25 minutes. And the mid-morning break was only supposed to be for 20 minutes. So, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Yeah, Mohawk Mom said it affected the family more because it is the first time they've seen what was done to the children. And it's just so absolutely devastating. In some ways, y'all might not want to hear this, but maybe it was for the best that there weren't cameras in the courtroom. Obviously, even if there had been, they wouldn't have showed the public those pictures. Many of us were very upset over the fact that there were no cameras in the courtroom. But folks, how many criminal trials are you going to be watching down the road? Chances are you'll probably watch a few more that will be way open and way transparent. I mean, when you got people like that Brooks fella and Johnny Depp and all these crazy court cases and stuff, how many are you going to get to watch that's being brought to you this way? Even if you didn't come on here, say you had to wait. Maybe you yourself sitting there doing what I'm doing, retweeting, refreshing, trying to get to the next tweet. And then knowing that later on in the evening you're going to get to hear but not see. It's once in a lifetime, y'all. Once in a lifetime. Okay, y'all. Back in the courtroom. Jurors are being brought in. And Douglas remains on the stand. Thank you, Angel Donmeyer, for putting that out there. So as many of y'all know, this Mike Douglas is with the FBI. He's a forensic accountant. He's been going through all of this information, everything from Lori's bank account to creating demonstrative exhibits, timelines to help aid the jurors in the whole concept of Joseph Ryan dying, the money that was given from that to Tylee, and a timeline that was created for demonstrative purposes to aid the jury on when Charles Vallow died and the money that was given for JJ's care. Also, he has testified today in recap about different these life insurance policies and all this other stuff. This was something that I skipped out on, y'all, that I didn't know. I thought I'd gotten current. Douglas says Lori held a $2 million life insurance policy. On August 12th, she changed the policy so her son Kobe was 100% beneficiary. On August 14th, Lori wrote on her apartment application that she was receiving $5,740 a month from Social Security funding. And again, this goes back to this whole idea that if she felt like Tylee and JJ were going to be around forever, why not co-list them with Kobe Ryan? Why was Kobe her 100% beneficiary? Sorry I missed that one, but I was scrolling through there. I must have went over it by mistake. So Lori did. Remember when she was standing in the doorway of her apartment the day of the welfare check? She said her brother was trying to kill her for her life insurance, but really, ultimately, everything Lori accused anybody of, she was doing herself. Remember how we used to talk about, well, was there ever any proof that Lori had life insurance on herself? Well, it's been confirmed now. That is another small little slither of the piece of the mosaic to get justice through understanding. Vanessa Kittredge says, we learned Alex was working and earning about $4,000 per paycheck at $8,000 a month. He quit his job and got the loan, so you know what job he had that paid that well. Good information there, Vanessa. Thank you. Yeah, that's right, Mohawk Mom. Absolutely. Lori tried to blame Adam and Charles. And just think about it this, y'all. Does she still have that insurance policy on herself if the premiums continue to be paid, huh? Or do you think this insurance company's like, they know all about this now and they're like, nope, dropping your ass? Wonder about that, y'all. Douglas says the final payment on the Jeep stopped on September 1st of 2019 because of lack of funds in Tylee's account. So, as we have heard in earlier testimony, y'all, Tylee began this journey as a young woman to start to have her own bank account. She was taking out her T-Mobile payment and her car payment to try to learn how to manage money, be responsible, only for Lori to rip it away from her, murder her, never give her a chance to be an adult out here in the world. Douglas runs through a timeline of JJ from the time Charles died to the time JJ died. And I want to tell all y'all on here that's commenting and everything and trying to be informative and all this, thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. I wish I could read every one of your comments. I've tried so hard, but it's hard to keep up with all this. Please forgive me. I will get back. If there's something important that you really want answered, I'm going to do my best, okay? Just put it on the live feed of this when I post it after we go into lunch break, and I promise I'll do my best to answer any questions if I even know the answers, okay? And if you've got any of the rays on here got comments, y'all know what we've discussed over this last 2 years, please, you don't have to rewatch it, just put it on those because I'm not able to get through to all these, and I apologize for that, okay? Vanessa Kidridge says, Lori is a scumbag hussy. My heart is broken for Cody. That phone call killed me. Okay. Ooh, somebody's putting out a recipe on here. Y'all better get a pen and paper down. Yeah, Marilyn Landis, I do believe Lori is going to testify. You know, Lisa Fisher, your guess is as good as mine on whether or not the death penalty will be sought in the conspiracy to commit murder on Charles Vallow. If she gets life in prison in Idaho, I guess the question is Arizona even going to try? Will they just try to offer her a plea agreement? Will they say, no, we're going to go ahead and do this? I think Charles Vallow deserves his justice. Okay, as I told y'all a minute ago, there's a timeline of JJ from the time Charles died to the time JJ died. JJ died either the 22nd or 23rd of September of 2019, and Charles Vallow died July 11th of 2019. The jury sees a document showing deposits made to Lori's BBVA bank account a month after JJ and Tylee died. Tylee's payments were October 23rd, November 27th, December 24th. Those were all in 2019, y'all. After the kids were murdered, Lori is taking those children's monies that were supposed to go toward them. 3 of those payments, remember they were close to $1,600 a piece, plus Lori got money. She is putting them in her account And then starting up in 2020, January 22nd, JJ's, and that was Tylee's. Now, JJ's was October 16th, November 20th, December 18th. All of those were after the kids were murdered, and January 15th of 2020. Lori made a conscious decision on all of that. Remember, this wasn't just about reporting to the Social Security Administration that the children were either missing or dead, but this also had to do with Lori. She would not receive this if she remarried, y'all. Again, if she would have remarried, she wouldn't have gotten that money. She did not tell the Social Security Administration that she'd married Chad Daybell. And to top it all off, she was supposed to let the Social Security Administration know that she had a change of address. And that was JJ and Tylee's that were illegally obtained. Now let's listen to Lori's payments that she received herself for the care of these children since they were minors through the Social Security Administration. Her payments for herself that she deposited into her account was October 16th, November 20th, and December 18th, all after the children died. There was at least three of those payments, including the January 15th of 2020, that was after she married Chad Daybell, and at least when her and Chad ran off, 3 payments where she had changed her address. And of course, we know the in child care and all of that was used toward Lori's little beach bag, her little hopping from island to island, staying at these dang swanky ass resorts. I mean, they had to buy the damn yoga mats for her and Chad when they were in Hawaii. Some might say, well, KJ, maybe that was some of Tammy's blood money, some of the insurance money where Chad committed insurance fraud on his wife after murdering her. It could be. But I'll tell you what, if Lori's gonna do these damn airline tickets for that damn big ass chin, don't you think she was gonna just give him, just spoil him? Because, she ain't got JJ and Tylee anymore to have to give them things or do things for them. She can take all of everything and give it to her chatty boy. Give me a break. This Mike Douglas runs through a timeline of key events in Lori's life during 2019. Key events. There were many of them. And hopefully Nate Eaton will list them here in a minute. Yeah, Roxy. Even the damn wedding rings and Lori's wedding dress and Chad's linen big man shirt and big pants there. The ones you see him on the beach with, that was in Charles Vallow's Amazon account. I wouldn't have been surprised they hadn't brought it out, whether Charles's card was still on file or whether she used another one. The bottom line is she was using her murdered husband's account in her new life with that nasty ass man. Yeah, Marvin, she got the rings on the cheap. That's right. Well, Kathy Forney, when I do those skits, they are to filter through the nonsense, satirical nonsense, really. And I try to do what I can do, but I absolutely have to be in the mood to do it. To me, that's why it makes it funny. And by the way, just an FYI, when we did that one of Zulema and Lori's text messages, I'm looking you in the eye. I didn't even know. I knew we had it listed out, the text messages, but I said, Wayne, come here. And I sat down in the chair with him and threw the wig on him. He didn't have no time to prep. Neither did I. That's what made it so damn funny, I think. I mean, I don't know. I'm a Carol Burnett. I absolutely love that woman. I've always loved, she's what, the 26th of April should be 90. They were going to do this big special on her and stuff. I love Carol Burnett. I love her. She is the funniest woman that I've ever in my life. I know, illegally blind. Why would he have said LOL? He should have known to laugh. LOL. Okay, Nate is saying a lot of this information of the timeline of key events in Lori's life during 2019 is duplicate details from the previous timelines. So I don't know if Nate just don't want to list them or what, but he's saying that these other events have already been introduced to the jurors through other evidence and testimony. Hi, Alice X, excuse me. He does, Eric. He does. He's very old-fashioned. He's a good man, a lot of integrity, runs a pretty damn successful business. Everyone calls him the wood butcher because he builds custom homes for a living and all of that. Been doing it. Started out in the CBs when he was 18 years old in a construction battalion. And he has even been deemed an expert in construction with federal courts. Some guy asked him, who owned a restaurant here in town, he was having some problems with one of these contractors out here that was doing some work. And so he sued him and asked Wayne to come in. And Wayne got up there and told him all his experience and everything. And the judge said, well, he's an expert, all right. So I thought that was really, really something that I felt like Wayne deserved, to be deemed an expert in his industry. So he's a hardworking man. As many of y'all probably noticed, because y'all notice a lot, when we did that skit, when he was sitting there with the hand up like that, he had kind of like some scratches and maybe a little blood on his arms. It's like that all the time with him. His hands are just worked out. Just always scraping and just working hard. Trust me, I know how hard my husband works because I do his laundry. Sweat, blood. But he enjoys it. He never complains. He feels blessed that he's able to do what he can. He'll be 70 years old in November. Okay, Douglas is shown an exhibit displaying Venmo activity. Lori had 2 Venmo accounts with multiple funding sources that changed between banks during 2018 and 2019. And by the way, for all of y'all that had commented on that skit and said nice things about Wayne, I told him your name and what you said. He really appreciated it. But he also told me, don't do that to me no more. I'm like, Wayne, I said it was fun. It was fun. RDNAC, no, he doesn't. To me, he doesn't look like he's 70 years old. And he sure don't work like he's 70. But he's from that old school where that's all you ever did. That's all you ever did was work. They don't make them like him anymore. He's my best friend. He knows me better than anybody else. That can be a good thing and that can be a bad thing. Lord knows he's put up with me for all these years. Okay, y'all, now listen to this. Venmo, the Venmo company, noted failed attempts to transfer funds on Lori's account in 2019. A new account on Tylee's Venmo was added on September 10th and used until the end of 2019. So Lori created a new account in Tylee's name after Tylee had been murdered. Did y'all expect anything any more disgusting than that? She can't put anything in her name, don't you know? She's got to make it look like Tylee's still around to send Kobe money. Lori has created a new account on Venmo, y'all, in Tylee's name after Tylee has been murdered. And people want to say that Lori didn't conspire to do anything, or perhaps, maybe there's not enough evidence to prove grand theft by deception or any of these other financial crimes. Her ass is nailed to the wall. She is. Okie dokie. Lori is so cold-blooded, cold-hearted. J. Blake, some people would like to have someone in their life, and some people just feel okay. Bismo Funyuns, interesting name, says nothing would surprise me anymore that comes out that Lori has done. Trust me, we ain't even but into week 2, y'all. There's going to be testimony, and come this weekend, I'm going to get back together with y'all before we start back on Monday, and we're going to go through Ray Room Chat, and we're going to recap this week, and we're also going to talk about what is ahead, what possible testimony, and maybe even some things that we were enlightened on that when we added it to that mosaic of justice through understanding, we see things a little bit differently, maybe, just maybe. Tylee and Lori often sent money to Kobe on Venmo. After Tylee died, both of Lori's Venmo accounts ceased. Tylee had a new bank account added to her Venmo after her death, and money was sent to Kobe. And that's basically what I said before. But, Lori, she not only stole their money, she stole their identities. If you really want to get technical about it, that's fraud. That's fraud right there. Her daughter is murdered and in the ground. And she's creating new accounts, making it seem like it's Tylee Ryan. That's freaking identity theft, and they should have charged her ass with it. Douglas says Lori made multiple attempts to purchase malachite rings on her accounts. As he says this, Lori is taking notes at the defense table. Yeah. I don't believe anything she's writing down. Whatever she's writing down. Yeah, John Shepard, we all want to see Lori's reactions. And I wish that we had somebody in there that would just focus in on that damn hussy, or focus in on the jurors, or focus in on the people that are testifying, and really just taking everything aside from what they're saying and talking about their demeanor, their body language and all that. It would be great. But unfortunately, we've got a case with no cameras in the courtroom, and when we heard Lori speaking with Kobe on that jail phone call, and her laughing, and the way she said, "Not me," and all this other stuff, you almost can sense and get a picture of how absolutely crazy, evil, diabolical Lori is. When asked what Douglas found on Chad Daybell's bank accounts, he says, "It was more of what I didn't find." He references the flight purchases for Chad. They were made with Lori's account. Well, there you go. Lori had to make sure to stroke that Johnson, don't you know? She had to make sure that she let Chad believe she had all this damn money when she didn't. I believe that's how it started out. I think Chad would have plunged into that damn big black hole anyway. I'm just saying it made it worth his while. It made it worth his while, and it made him feel like this woman is special because she's got all this money. She's beautiful. I want to get in her yoga pants. She seems to think I'm all that in a box of damn microwave popcorn. The bee's knees, however you want to say it. He thought he had the whole package. Well, he had a package that had been bammed on by several men over the years. I'm sure it must have been quite disappointing for Chad Daybell's first plunge into it, knowing he couldn't feel her. What do y'all think of that, huh? Am I that way off base? She's loose. Chad bought a phone at the Rexburg Walmart on September the 18th of 2019. That's the same day, y'all, that Lori received Social Security funds, according to Douglas. Now, are they trying to have an inference toward that when Lori received that Social Security money from her murdered children, or at least murdered Tylee, because September 18th was 3 or 4 days before JJ was murdered, are they trying to say that Lori paid for Chad's phone? Wouldn't be surprised. Bismo Funyun says Lori's being so damn loose, it's like throwing a toothpick down a hallway. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'll never forget that. Loose in the who, says John Shepard. Voodoo girl. Ha 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 ha. Legally Blonde said, I said it before, she went down on everything except the Titanic. Oh my gosh. Hi, Thomas Ledwick. Oh my gosh. Y'all know it. Y'all know it. That goose is loose, says Eric. I see them LOLs. What is that LOL? You're laughing, or are you just trying to say Lori's loose on loose? Oh, Nasala Salsa says, throwing a sausage up a tunnel. I don't know about a sausage. I think more of one of them named shriveled up damn gherkins. Chad got tired of jerking his gherkin. Now, Douglas reviews a timeline for the jury and mentions several flights Lori bought for Chad using her credit cards. Alex also purchased flights for Chad. You know why? Because Chad didn't have shit. How about that? Chad didn't have nothing. The money that was coming into that household, Tammy had a full-time damn job. She was probably paying all the damn water and electric bills. Anybody think that damn Spring Creek Publishing Company? We done went through the finances. These people were slamming damn needles up their ass in terms of being tight. Chad couldn't afford any of this stuff. So Lori and Alex showered him. Tammy's life insurance increase was requested on September 8th of 2019. Douglas says after Tammy died, Chad made the most large purchases, including a family trip to Knott's Berry Farm. Oh, y'all, Knott's Berry Farm. Isn't that some kind of amusement park that we all know for a fact? Lori did. They had pictures of Chad and his family there. He wanted to, I guess he kind of wanted to settle everybody down now that Tammy'd been murdered. He takes his family there. Lori's at the hotel in California waiting on his ass. He doesn't bring her with him to Knott's Berry Farm. He ain't ready to unveil that yet. No pun intended. You take that into consideration. He murders his wife. And then all this time, Lori and Alex are showering Chad with all these airline tickets and shit. And as soon as he can make a large purchase, does he do it for that damn hussy? Or that damn nut job, Alex? No. He takes his family to Knott's Berry Farms, which is an amusement park. Right, Kathy Barella. It ain't like Chad lived in some damn swanky-ass damn house. So, again, y'all, we know that when Tammy died, Chad and Lori left to go to where eventually Chad would be with his family at Knott's Berry Farm, but she wasn't with him. There was photographs taken of that whole trip, and not one of them had a picture of Lori in it. Right, Vanessa Kittredge. All you need to know, y'all. I mean, we know this. When all this shit went down with Lori before Chad was arrested, did he pay for any money or anything? I guess maybe he did for a little bit for Mark Means or Barthlick before she got arrested. The bottom line is when his ass got arrested, that was the end of it. He wasn't going to give his wife any money to hire a private attorney. That was going to be for old Chatty Boy, don't you know? Don't you know Chatty Boy's the one that had to dang take care of himself, because that's how assholes like that roll. Douglas says Chad filed life insurance claims within days of Tammy's death. He attempted to refinance his house, y'all, on October 8th of 2019. Now let's stop for a second. October 8th of 2019 is before Tammy is murdered. He's attempting to refinance his house, I guess to get some money, y'all. But it doesn't say he was successful with it. Life insurance payouts were deposited into Chad's account on November the 1st and November the 16th. So they must have done like an initial, give him so much down, of it up front, and then was going to give him the rest of it the 16th. So he did have some of the money with him when him and Lori went to Hawaii to get married on the beach November 5th of 2019. And I know for pretty sure, I guess, they were there about a week, but we know they came back. And we know they were there around the time of the welfare check. I'm sure Lori spoiled Chad while they were in Hawaii. She bought all their wedding stuff, don't you know? She's the one probably that paid for that, whoever it was, to come out on the beach and do that private ceremony. Now, Douglas says during the search of Chad's property between 9:50 and 10 a.m., now they're not saying when his property was, I'm assuming this was January of 2020 when they searched his property. From 9:50 to 10 a.m., there were transfers of $8,000 each from Chad's Mountain American bank account to 3 of his kids. So this must have been when the day of when the children were found. He's taken, well, $8,000 apiece for 3 kids. That would be $24,000. And he sends those to his 3 kids. The transfers occurred as officers were searching his grounds. Around $4,400 was left in the account. Now, let's just stop there for a minute. Tammy Daybell's life insurance in total was it $463,000? If I'm wrong on those other 2 numbers, we know it was $400,000+, okay? But all Chad has left the day the children are dug up out of the ground is $4,400 was left in the account. Now, I'm not saying he didn't have money, say, on hand, because one has to ask the question that many of the Rays on here have asked time and time again. How in the hell is Chad Daybell being able to afford a privately held attorney? And we're not just talking about someone saying, well, KJ, that's John Pryor. He's got his house. He signed his house over to John Pryor. And John Pryor, it's just him and all this and that. But think about this. They've had to have investigators, and there had to be clerical work done by other paralegals in John Pryor's office, payroll, whatever. The bottom line is by the time the children are dug up out of Chin's yard, he only has $4,400 left of the nearly $400,000+ that he got from murdering his wife, Tammy. The same woman that buried his children, spent all those years doing everything she could to keep the family together, worked her ass off, was so good in the community. People loved her. And this is what he's got. This is what he's got. Mohawk Bomb says they were doomsday preppers. They probably had cash on hand. Douglas says tickets were purchased to Knott's Berry Farm right after Tammy died. Rollins has no further questions for Douglas. And Jim Archibald says he has no questions for Douglas. He is dismissed from the witness stand, but Rollins says they may call him at a later date. So they're either going to, at this time, it is approximately 11:18 a.m. in the morning in Idaho. They usually take their lunch at about 12. We'll just have to wait and see if they're going to bring in another witness or whether they'll take an early lunch. We'll see what happens. Zelda, I've invited Kay, Larry, Crush, and their whole family to Tennessee. Whether they would want to do that sounds like a really sweet thing to think about. Wayne and I would open our home to such a wonderful Louisiana extended family that we consider them to be. Kelly Fitzgerald, I do not know. They never did release the witness case for this trial. They do have a grand jury list on the indictment of the murders, charges of Chad and Lori, and some of them have appeared off that grand jury list, but we have not been given, it's not in the court document portal of a witness list. It does say they've updated that list, but it's not being released to the public. But that is a good question. Is Chad's kids on the witness list? And would this, I wouldn't think it would be for Lori's trial, would it? Unless they had something to state thought that Lori might have said one of in front of them or something like that, because they're not going to go on the stand and say, well, my dad was acting strange with Lori or something like that. They're not going to do that. They're behind their dad. They're supporting their dad. I don't imagine that they would testify for the state. Would these Chad's children be on the defense's list? And what could they possibly say is anyone's guess. My common sense gut says that if they are going to testify anywhere, they'll do it in their own father's trial, if in fact he even has one. Okay, folks, we are having an early lunch. Court resumes at 12:30. So that gives us a little extra time for all of y'all. You got chores, you got to run errands, you got to go to the bathroom, you got to get something to eat, whatever it is. We'll be back here I guess in about an hour. And so thank y'all so much for being here this morning, this afternoon. We'll be hearing from a new witness. We don't know who it could be. We don't know how long this witness will go and whether there'll be more than one. So anyway, get what you got to get done, y'all. We'll get back together. Be looking for the live stream announcement here in about an hour. I love you all, and keep on looking.